Today, we're doing a self-awakening yoga pose called the pelvic clock to help release tension in your low back and find a more neutral position of your pelvis. Start by lying on your back with your knees bent, feet planted about hip width apart, and just notice your neutral position of your spine. How much curve do you have or space do you have between your low back and the floor? Now imagine the face of a clock on your sacrum, that triangular bone at the back of your pelvis. Allow your pelvis to tilt slightly away from you to create more of a curve in your low back. We'll call that 6 o'clock. Then flatten your back against the mat, tilting your pelvis slightly towards you. That's 12 o'clock. 12 o'clock is your friend if you normally have more of an anterior tilt to your pelvis or more curve. 6 o'clock is more your friend if you have a more typical posterior tilt or flat back. Now move slowly between those 2 points. Flatten your back against your mat and then tilt your pelvis away to create more of a curve. Flatten your back against your mat again. Now we'll shift in more of a clockwise position. So shift your weight slightly to the left. It's a very micro movement. We'll call that 3 o'clock. And then tilt your pelvis away from you for 6 o'clock. Tilt your weight slightly to the right for 9 o'clock. And then come back to your flattened back for 12 o'clock. Move slowly between those 4 points a couple of times. And you can always pause the video and spend a little more time here. Once you arrive back to 12 o'clock, take the motion counterclockwise. So shift your weight slightly right, and then pelvis tips away from you. Shift your weight slightly left, and back to 12 o'clock. Move a couple more times in this direction and return to your natural position. And notice, do you have more space or less space than you did before we started? You also might notice if you had some tension in your low back, maybe that is released. You might need to do this a little bit longer than we did today to find that relief, but I encourage you to give it a try, move slowly, and see what happens with the position of your pelvis and any tension in your low back. Join us for our next video in this series to work with stretching and lengthening the hip flexors.